Hello guys, my name is James with True North EV, and I'm coming to you actually from the Assiniboine Park Zoo in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I'm actually charging at the moment at a whopping 5.9 kilowatts, courtesy of the zoo. So free charging, yay. So what I'm going to talk about today is actually the Ford Mustang Mach-E. I watched the unveiling yesterday. The unveiling definitely had some stuff to learn from Tesla. When you have to tell the audience that it's okay to clap and make noise, maybe there's some work to be done. Definitely older, more tame crowd than Ford or than Tesla. But yeah, so overall, they kind of talked about it, but not really. There was a whole lot of rambling, but afterwards, a lot of great articles actually came out with the important actual information and actual videos showing the interior and the exterior of the vehicle way better than the Ford presentation did. So I'm just kind of gonna go over it. We're gonna start. Let's start with the exterior. Let's do that. Exterior. Love that there's no normal door handles on it. I love the little push button deal on it, or using your phone's Bluetooth to get into it with a little solenoid pop out. Very much Tesla-ish. That's the main theme of the Mach-E, is to take the really good stuff that Tesla's been doing and try to put that Ford spin on it, which I think they did for our first big electric vehicle push. I think they did not too bad. But yeah, door handles, they had so their main thing is, I guess, your phone's Bluetooth. And then secondly is going to be, there's a little push button on the A pillar, or the B pillar, and the C pillar. I believe it was on the C pillar. So not too bad. I kind of like that. And then they also had another backup where, because Ford always had, or not always, Ford has a lot of vehicles that have the little push, I guess, number code on it to do. So they have that with the Mach-E, which you can use that without a phone or a key. So you punch in a 4-digit code, and then on their center screen, you would punch in the same 4-digit code to actually go places, which I thought was very interesting, that you don't need a phone or keys or anything for this. I like it. Exterior, front end, very much, I guess, front end, the headlights and taillights, actually, very Mustang-ish styling. I personally feel that's kind of where, like, the grill area, it's kind of Mustang-ish, but I think that's kind of where that Mustang name kind of goes astray. Like, I don't really see it. I feel that the Mustang name is kind of weird to have for this vehicle, but I think Ford mostly did the Mustang name to try to get the attention. But so we got the headlights, taillights, very much Mustang-y. They got, what I really like about Ford is that you kick underneath the back bumper to lift the tailgate. I really like that when your hands are full. It's fantastic. I know there's been aftermarket kits available for the Teslas to do that. I feel that some sort of hands-free deal should almost be in every vehicle to get into the trunk or the hatch or whatever the vehicle has, because you always got your hands full of groceries and you're trying to get into it. So I do love that they're keeping with that way. Other than that, it's kind of your normal hatchback looking vehicle. They don't have any Ford badging on it. It's purely the Mustang Stallion, which I'm not totally sure why they went that way, but to each their own. Yeah, but it's kind of bigger, like quite a bit of headroom and all that. Lots of cargo room, but we'll talk more about that when we get to the interior. Let's go range. So the range on this, we're gonna go. I got it all in kilometers here. Going based off it's called Mobile Syrup. It's a website here in Canada. They've broken it down quite nicely. The Mustang's Mach-E's largest range option is a 475 kilometer range, which is, I believe, just over 300 miles. And their standard range, or the lowest range available, is 325 kilometers, which I believe is either just under or just over 200 miles. So you're kind of borderline with what Tesla has available, but what you're gonna, and those ranges are gonna be coming out right away, or I guess not right away, late 2020, which is right around when the Model Y should be coming out. But I do also love that they're offering it in rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, which I feel is how all electrics should be. My Kona is front-wheel drive, and I find as soon as you start accelerating hard, it's immediately putting all that weight to the back, which is taking that weight off the front tires, allowing them to slip. So I love how they're, at least, and it's a Mustang tradition. You got to have rear-wheel drive if you're going to call yourself a Mustang. So yeah, but they got two different battery packs. A 76 kilowatt battery pack and a 99 kilowatt battery pack, which is very odd that they're just not going 75 and 100, but I'm not sure if they're offering a lot of buffer room on these, and that's why they're these weird numbers, or how they're doing it. But they do have a lot of different trim levels, and depending on your trim level is going to depend on the range. Like, they got ones at 325 kilometers, 355 kilometers, 425 kilometers, 475 kilometers. It's just kind of all over. There's no set, with this battery pack you're going to get this range, with that battery pack you're going to get that range. It kind of depends on your trim level and all that. I guess trim, and if you got all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. Just, it seems a lot for a brand new EV vehicle. I would think that just try to make it easy. I do like how that's how the Kona came out. This is how it is. But charging, they're really struggling at charging. It's not a great charger they got in there. 120 volts. They're going with 5 kilometers of range per hour, which most vehicles, I know my Kona gets 8 kilometers, so 5 kilometers would be about, I think, 3 miles an hour. So super slow. 240 volts is 35 kilometers of range per hour, which I think that would equal to about 20-ish miles an hour. A little better, but still not great. And then on 48 amps, 50 kilometers, which I believe is about 35-ish miles an hour. So not great chargers. They are going with the J1772 and CCS. So I do like that, because there is plenty of those available. It seems like that's now kind of the thing to be adding, along with the superchargers. But the batteries are also, Ford is saying that in the cold weather, the battery shouldn't be as affected, other than with your temperature controls that you put in your vehicle, but the battery won't be as affected because they've tested them up to minus 40 degrees Celsius, which, if I'm believe correct, is about the same in Celsius as in Fahrenheit, but it's cold. There's not too many days that you're gonna hit minus 40, and at minus 40 you're probably not going anywhere anyways. But yeah, it is just like a regular EV. You're gonna get probably the same 20 to 50% range hit when you turn on the heat. So let's move on to the interior. They've gone very minimalist. I like it. They of course had to keep a couple of dials. They got the big 15.5-inch screen in, what is that, portrait mode. So up and down vertical. That takes the place of most of the dials. So no dials except for a volume control that's looks like it's almost stuck right in the middle of the screen at the bottom. Kind of weird, but they said that they've done I guess consumer testing or whatever, and people wanted that. I personally think it's weird, but to each their own. But they do have a dial for the gear selector, which is similar to the Kia Niro. Kia Niro EV has the exact same sort of dial deal, where the Kona has the buttons, the Niro has a dial. But really nice interior. It's kind of very sleek. You don't really see any of the speakers because they're buried inside the dash with a nice fabric cover on it. Like, I personally find the interior very nice. It at least has gone the route of I could use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto without having to be plugged in, where the Kona I have to plug in to use it. It's got wireless charger. It has a nice little storage underneath. Definitely making use out of not having a transmission. So they've definitely put effort into this. If you're into the whole audio scene, it's Bang & Olufsen speakers. So really good brand for that. Me personally, I like listening to music. I don't find a massive difference in quality of vehicles, but I know there definitely is some people out there that know that sort of stuff. Panoramic roof all across. So I do like that most of these manufacturers seem to be going that way. Gives a nice view out at night or whatever, watching either the stars, northern lights, the comets, whatever. You just get to stay nice and warm. You don't have the vehicle going, or even just kind of camping in your vehicle. You get nice view instead of just looking up at the roof. It's got Ford Sync 4. I'm not sure what all the differences are. My work truck is a 2015 Ford F-150. It's got the Ford Sync on it, and it is awful. It barely connects with my phone. It just struggles to actually keep the audio going. So I'm hoping that the Ford Sync 4 is way better. It's got ability to actually know who's driving, in case both the driver and the passenger are drivers. It can tell who's driving and whether they and what their phone settings and for screen settings preferences are. along with the screen, they can have multiple like windows open across it, which is interesting. I would think that that would start getting into the realm of distracted, but yeah, I guess you could have it or not. Depends if you're easily distracted. Just put less up. The frunk. It has a frunk. Ford's first main electric vehicle doing it right with a frunk. Not only that, it's all plastic. So they've actually made it easily cleanable. And it has a drain in it. So you could fill it with ice, put drinks in it, whatever. Or put whatever leaky groceries or whatever wet, dirty stuff you might have. You could put that in there, not worry about it. But it also has 2 cup holders beside the frunk, but still in the hood enclosure, which I think is fantastic. They've totally thought about tailgating or even camping, beaches, cottage, whatever you might want to do, right? Like, yeah, and with being drainable, just pull the drain on it. I'm kind of hoping that Tesla actually kind of steals those ideas from Ford and puts it on their vehicles, because I think that's a nice little touch. To be able to make it into a cooler itself, I would love to see that on a Tesla. Driving, I didn't really hear too much about driving, as per most of the not salespeople, journalists that have talked about it were given rides in it, but not really allowed to drive it. And the prices actually aren't too bad for it. Canada pricing starts at $51,000, which isn't too bad. If you look at other EVs, kind of within that same range. I know the Konas start at 45 grand. Actually, I think at this price it's $50,495 for the base model, which I think would still allow them to get the federal EV incentives if they're still available. So it would actually bring that price down to about $45,000, which is really, for what you're getting, is actually a pretty nice price. But it does go all the way up to $83,000, which to me is a little much for that. If you're going to spend that kind of money, I would almost say get a Tesla, but you got some of the die-hard Ford people, which I understand, would really like that. I didn't talk actually about the performance. I'll just finish with the price. But they do have, so there's 5 different trim levels. It sounds like they're kind of going to be spreading them out, delivering like in bundles, kind of starting with this package. Which package? Let's take. There's certain trims that they're going to be delivering first, I believe. So yeah, the premium trim is going to be the first to be delivered. Premium and first edition are going to be the first ones delivered late 2020. Then it seems like most are going to be right around that 2021, early 2021 spring. And that's going to be the California Route 1, which I'm not sure if that's actually going to come to Canada. It's on the list. Seems like a weird name for it, but California Route 1, GT Performance, and Select Trim. So those will all be 2021 delivery dates. But it definitely benefits from the electric motor. So it's going to I can't find anywhere that actually talks about the torque, but it does have 3 different settings for power mode. They call them Whisper, Engaged, and Unbridled. I'm assuming it's kind of like Eco, Normal, Sport, but they got sounds that they pump into the cabin for these, which I think is a little weird, but it seems like a lot are doing it, except on Whisper. Whisper, which I'm assuming is going to be kind of like an Eco mode, does it. There's no noise or anything attached to it, but you've also kind of lowered your throttle response, or accelerator response actually, and it's just the steering wheel is a lot looser. You go to Engaged and Unbridled. It basically, Engaged is kind of your normal mode. They add a little bit of extra kind of throttly, throaty, V8 noise to it that they pump into the cabin. And then you get a little more accelerator response. You get a little stiffer, sportier of steering. And then you got Unbridled, which pumps quite a bit of the noise to it. I like watching some of the videos of them going for rides. I personally don't really care for the noise. Others really enjoyed the noise and wanted it on all the deals or all the different modes, but maybe that's why I drive a Kona and like the Teslas, because they don't pump in the fake noise. But yeah, and so a lot of noise, a lot more aggressive or accelerator response, and a lot stiffer, sportier handling on the steering wheel, which again, they're going to be great for your summer cruises. Definitely though, for your year round and in the snow, you're probably mostly going to be Whisper. Whisper is also going to get you the most range and bang for your buck. But yeah, to me it seems like a great vehicle. Tops out at 459 horsepower, and so it can do 0 to 60 in roughly 3 seconds. That's on the GT Performance model. So the other ones you're going to be looking at about, I heard about 5.5 seconds, mid fives, for the 0 to 60 on just the lower trim levels, which I personally feel is perfectly fine as an everyday driver. But you definitely have those modes then to bump up and get much better times. But yeah, if you just want your sports car, the GT Performance, and you got 80 grand sitting around and big Ford person, hey, it's a great vehicle. I'm personally putting it on my list of possible next vehicles, because it is a not bad looking vehicle. Little weird grille, but other than that, I quite enjoy the looks of it and what it's offering. Yeah, just being, and it has over-the-air updates, which I personally feel is fantastic. I'm not sure how they're going to get away with that, being you got dealership contracts that I'm pretty sure state you can't do that unless they've changed the wording on them, or Ford is just willing to put up with the fights from the dealerships. I'm not sure, but I love that they're doing over-the-air updates. That's how it should be. You shouldn't have to be forced to go to a dealership just to get a simple update. But yeah, I personally think this is a fantastic vehicle that Ford is offering, and with these kind of specs and numbers that they're offering, it makes me really interested to see what they're going to do with the Ford F-150. I think it's actually going to be great competition for what they have. And hopefully this forces Chevy and Dodge and all them to really step up their game. It's putting an aggressive timeline on it that they're going to be delivering next year. So maybe we'll actually start seeing a lot more EVs out there. That from a lot of different manufacturers. Hey, maybe we'll have a Camaro EV out soon. Hopefully it's not an SUV, but maybe they'll actually make an EV. But yeah, turn all these muscle cars into great EVs. But yeah, I think that's all. We're gonna be watching to see what happens with the Tesla Cybertruck unveiling on Thursday. What is that? Thursday, July 21st, I believe. So, but it's definitely going to be something interesting to see. I know Elon Musk congratulated Ford on the Mach E. So, yeah, it sounds like it's an overall good push in the right direction. I think that's going to be all for today. You guys have yourself a great couple of weeks. And thanks for listening. If you guys do want to reach out to me, my email is truenorthev@gmail.com. Yeah, or I do have a Facebook group, True North EV Podcast. There's not much there. Best way to reach out is email. But yeah, thanks for listening and have a great day.